Hey friends, it's hard to believe it's the end of 2023 already. We're just about to head into January, and that means for a homesteader, the January Pantry Challenge. I have to put all my Christmas decorations away, I have to inventory my pantry before I begin, and I have to come up with some kind of meal plan. Come on in, let's hang out for a little while. The January Pantry Challenge is a challenge that has very loose rules. You and your household get to decide if you have a $100 weekly budget, if you're only buying dairy, or if you're going to make sure that you include, items out of your pantry or whatever works for you. In our case, we are aiming at a $50 weekly grocery allowance, and we are going to be using that for milk, cheese, yogurt, creamer for the coffee, and some fresh vegetables to make some salads. It being January, who doesn't want to start eating more salads and trying to shed a few pounds? Dan and I can both use to shed a few pounds. The January Pantry Challenge may help you to develop new habits. For us, it's going to be making a point of using the foods that are in that pantry. And not just building a stockpile and then leaving them there because they look pretty. If you're going to can your products, you should be using your products. So we need to develop the habit of going, oh yeah, let's grab, that's in the pantry. Yes, let's grab that out of the pantry. Hey, let's make this, this, and this, and grab 3 of those things out of the pantry. We need to develop that habit. Menu planning is another habit that we can develop. I've got a plan for how I'm going to do this. You can use day of the week represents Taco Tuesday, Friday, fish, all of those different days of the week applications. Or you can use your inventory list and go through it and say, I have 10 meals worth of beef, and I have 3 meals worth of chicken, and I have 7 meals worth of pork, and then suit them into a calendar so that you're scattering the beef through different periods and you're scattering the pork and the chicken through different periods. And you can include having vegetarian meals or having, meatless, no cheese, no whatever it is that works for you. I do want to work on my baking pantry and getting some of that product out of there and trying out more of the gluten-free mixes that are available. My pantry is stuffed full. The doors on my pantry are just about spring-loaded. It's so full in there. I need to work through those things and get some of that stale stuff out of there. There's definitely things that have been in there for far too long that need to go. How strict you are is certainly up to you. I need to really be self-disciplined and work on getting rid of that old stock that's in my pantry. I need to really work on that. And this runs either from January 1st to 31st, or you can include January and February as part of this pantry challenge. I'm going to start with January, and if we can get into February, that will be great too. We do have an event on January 1st. There's a family feast in Quebec, so we're heading to that. And we do have a birthday. Dan will be having his birthday on January 31st, so both of those days will allow us to fudge the lines a little bit on the January, no spend January part of it. Also happening at the same time as the January Pantry Challenge is the no spend January, no spend February, and that would, for us, that means no spending on dining out, no spending on Amazon orders, no spending on treats, possibly no spending on alcohol. That's going to be up to the husband, and just no excessive spending for, I will probably pick up something for Dan's birthday and we will be going out for his dinner, but other than that, we're not going to be spending. So that allows us to take that money that would have been going to the groceries and money that we would be spending foolishly and spontaneously on Amazon. That money is now going to go toward either a debt to pay off holiday credit cards or to pay towards a sinking fund so that we can have the money to do some kind of build this spring, a project of some kind, or garden supplies for the spring. If we need to buy mulch, then we can start saving the money for that now. And that is another way for us to offset some of the expenses that will occur later in the year or have occurred previously. 2 whole months of not using Amazon, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. That's so hard for me. I'm a crafter and I'm always buying craft supplies for this and craft supplies for that. But I'll tell you right now, my craft room is abundant, and I need to work on that. So no spend, Karen, no spend. All right, so let's come on back and have a look into the pantry with me and see what we've got going on there. My pantry has empty spaces on the shelves and more empty space on the shelf. I like to go through my pantry at least once a year and pull out the things that are expired, and they will either go to the chickens, go into the composter, or go into the trash if the chickens can't eat them. And I like to pull things to the front that need to be used up very quickly, especially January, February, March. I'll take those things and make sure they get moved. My goal is not to empty my pantry. My goal is to use up the older stuff that needs to be used up and make sure that I have enough stock to get through until the next canning season, which is around here. That's not till August or September. So I'm not going to just be blasting through, you know, whatever I stored. It's going to be measured out and balanced. But old stuff first. This part of my pantry, the part that I canned myself, does have a few empty spots. My whole upper shelf is pretty much gone of the use first products, but I'll have to go through here and move things to the front that definitely need to be used up. Most of the stuff that I have in these boxes here are the newer products. I did that a month or so ago. I guess it was probably October. I rotated and made sure all the older products, older dates were to the front and the newer stuff was at the back. I've gifted a bunch for Christmas gifts, and now I just need to work through this. Like these pickles. I mentioned these in another video, what I will and won't can again. These pickles are something I need to figure out what I'm going to do with them. I'm going to try eating them, if I put them on burgers, if I set them on the side of my plate as a garnish, and it's been suggested by several of my viewers to try making them into a relish because I love relish. I might be able to take a jar of pickles and strain off the liquid and then just put it through the bullet or through a food processor and put only as much liquid back in as is needed. But we'll have to see how that tastes. That means next I have to do an inventory. You can get forms online to do an inventory, but for me, I like to have a pen and paper, so I'm just writing January 2024 pantry inventory. I tend to do my freezer. I do my freezer quite often, and I will do beef, steak, roast, cubes. Cubes would be stew meat or kebab meat, and then there's ground. And sometimes there might be sausage, but I know that I don't have any beef sausages in there. And then I'll go to pork. This is really simple, and I'll go through the same thing again. So there's chops, there's roast, and then I'll just go 1, 2, 3, tick, 1, 2, 3, tick. And then on the other side, I will also have my chicken. I know that there is a rabbit in there. I know I have a turkey in there. We have the oddball things like hot dogs, wings. Actually, wings can go under chicken. I will leave space for things to be added on this inventory, but I also have veggies, baked goods, so there might be bread and pie crusts or something. There's going to be butter. And I just keep going through the list of what I know should be in there and what we typically buy. And then I'll go with pantry on this one. Page 2 is pantry. So that will be store-bought. So we'll write that purchased goods. And that will be canned soup. I know there's a jar of Parmesan cheese. I sort of make this up on the fly. You can download them from Canva. You can download them from Etsy and purchase them. You can find them all over the place. And the list goes on. There will be a full pantry list of things in there. I have all my variety of teas, some herb and spices overflowing. Lots of things in that pantry. Page 4. These are just little pages. If you had larger pages, for sure you could put this all on 1 or 2 sheets. Let's go veggies. I know we have potato, carrots, squash, and I also know I have a fresh batch of squash that needs to be processed. I'm going to leave the rest of this page blank for items that are in the canned goods pantry that I've missed in this quick run through. Page 6, this will be fresh or frozen to process. I know that I have a turkey carcass, so turkey bones. I know that I have chicken bones. I know that I have fresh squash and fresh pumpkin that need to be dealt with. I don't want them to spoil. I spent all that time taking care of them in the garden, and my family helped me out so much this past year that I don't want to waste any of this stuff. I don't know if any of them would use squash or pumpkin, but I still want to respect that I got all that help. I just went back to my my freezer inventory. I know that I have a bunch of shredded zucchini that needs to be used. Let's put an asterisk next to that to use that up. Let me know, what are the things that you need to work on for your January Pantry Challenge? Will you be participating? Whether you're recording it and sharing it or not, I'd like to see some people tell me what they've saved or tell me what they need to use up in their pantry. Leave a comment below. See you next time, guys.